Welcome to this InterAcct Software Demonstration. In this session we're going to be looking at a new feature that's available with the Clearview database, which the InterAcct system was developed in, and it's called the Grid View, G-R-I-D. And the grid is like an Excel spreadsheet within the database itself. It's quite an interesting thing to have a look at. We've got an example here of it underneath the jobs database. But it does apply to any file. I just won't bother searching. Call up this job. It's a construction job. And here's the job header. If you're not familiar with job costing and wish to be, of course there are videos on job costing, estimating, quoting, quite a lot of videos on our website. But I'm going to now go into menu number 4, which is a breakdown of the total budget and actual costs by phase. Here you can see, and these are all the different phases of work to build a commercial building, or supposedly. And now I'm going to go into this new view option and going to view the full grid view. So it's now putting that data into memory, which it's now done. And you can see it looks much the same as the data on the previous screen, but now you're seeing totals across the bottom, and it's still sorted by phase. But what you can do is set up filters or selections, if you like. Let's say we use an example. So I'll just pop down this little dialog box here based on the status. You can see it's set to estimate or work in progress. E is TMWIP. And I could just select one particular group. You see there, it's just only got 3 in work in progress, and of course the totals are across the bottom are now revised according to that. Go back in here, you can select all. That's what we had before. The other thing you can do is set up what we call a custom search, and you might say equals greater than or equals to. I'll cancel out on that, and I'll just show you a slightly different view over here. Say for instance we wanted to have a look at the adjusted contract sum, this little column here, and we wanted a custom view. And we might say, let's have a look at everything that's greater than or equal to $10,000. That's 100,000. I've got an extra naught there. Say OK, and you can see now that the adjusted contract is shortened. All those small ones have come out, so it's only items that are over $10,000, and again the total has been adjusted accordingly. But one of the other things you can do, let's say on this column here, adjusted contract, is click on that particular heading, and you can see it's now sorted so that it's the lowest value to the highest value. Again, you click on it again, it will resort just like a spreadsheet and show you the highest value first. But what you can also do with this feature is drag this up into the header area here. You can see it's sorted by status now, and you can see a subtotal of the ones in work in progress. We might just click on actually these are still filtered where the adjusted contract is greater than 10,000, but I might just set it back to all again to get all the particular features. Now can you see that? It's got all these phases are in the estimate stage, and these 3 at the bottom are in work in progress, and you can see subtotals for both of those sort of sections of work, if you like. So this enables you to set subtotals. Now we're sorting it by status at the moment, but you could have multiple sorts up here, status, and within status by one of the other fields if you wanted, such as margin, for instance. Sort margin and have the biggest margin at the top. Now one of the other things you can do whilst we're here under grid view is select this option called, it hasn't been ticked, column selector. I'll just bring this up into view so you can see this. Now the column selector lists out all the fields in this particular file. You can see I'm just arrowing down, there's a whole heap of fields. So if you wanted the region or the director or the project manager or the division, whatever it might be, job category or type, shown on this particular list, you just need to take that particular field. Let's just take project manager, slot where you want it. You can see the little arrows there, and let's just slot it in there. I'll just widen that list, and you can see now we've got project manager showing on the list. In this case it's the same person all the way through. In the same way that if you don't want a particular column shown, so for instance you may not want transfer cost showing, you can hold that field and bring it into this little customized box, and it's taken that column off the display. So you can choose which columns that you want to have on this display. You can choose the sort sequences, you can choose your filters. It's just a fantastic new feature. What I'm showing you here is another example of the grid view. In this case it relates to the business names database where you've got your clients and prospects and indeed suppliers. You can see for instance here the status of these business names. It's actually coming out at the moment alphabetically based on their record ID. But what you might want to do is, for instance, is just show clients. So hence you can just click on clients. Now you're only seeing clients. Again, you might select by category of client, large, medium, small. You might sort them according to have all the large clients first and then medium-sized clients down below. Or indeed, you might sort them according to the account manager. Again, you can have all combinations of these sorts of things. One of the things you might do is, again, drag, as it says, drag the column up into this header area here, and I'm dragging the status field. So now it's showing, for instance, the clients, but we might just take it back to all for the moment. And then we might have category of client as a second sort sequence. So I've got category up here now. And so here we're seeing all clients that are large, and we're sorting it by account manager as well. So you can see how you can, and then down the bottom here you can see a subtotal of what money is owed by these particular clients and a grand total down the bottom. There isn't any figure in this particular example. If you wanted to see just the hot prospects, for instance, you might want to go back to status and say, okay, we want to select category, and in this case we've got category sorted by type of customer. This is domestic customers and other customers down there, large, hot customers, if your clients that are hot to trot and also large. So you can just see this is quite a reasonable sized database, about 1800 business names. If we want to pop that back to what it was, we can just do that. We'll just pop it back to status, and then we might want to put category back as well in there, and it just basically puts it back to the way it was. Alright, so that's the grid view. It's really a great feature where you can manipulate your own data. You can choose what columns you want to see on your list of records. That could be, as I mentioned before, I showed you an example of a jobs budget. Here we're seeing the names database, but the same facilities are available all the way through the InterAcct database, and particularly useful when analysing things like the general ledger, sorting into different sequences and filtering out particular accounts, etc., and seeing subtotals.